following show is for entertainment purposes only and does not necessarily reflect the opinions of Empire Media LLC, its subsidiaries, affiliates, sponsors, and advertisers.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Motor City Uncut, episode 130. Waiting for a 130th episode for 3 weeks here.
Man.
Yeah. Last time we were on the air was, what, the last week in February? Or last week in January?
February 20th. Or January.
January.
20th,
I was going to say it's
yeah.
February. What?
Was it January 20th?
Yeah,
I thought it was the 28th. I'm pretty sure
it's
we were
been
on the 28th.
3 weeks, basically.
Yeah. First time in 3 weeks. Anyway, thanks for joining us here live. If you want to give us a call on the phones, it's 203-71-TMSNX or 203-718-6769. That is a Skype number, so you can actually call in from your computer if you want.
Google Hangouts.
Oh, Google Hangouts number. My bad. Used to be a Skype.
Gosh.
Sorry, it used to be a Skype number, but you can call in from your computer. It is only if you are listening to us live right here on Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern. If you're catching us on the replay, hit us up on Twitter at TMSNX Radio or just our general overall at TMSNX. That is the Major Sports Network master Twitter handle. And also check out our new digital content. We're doing a lot of stuff now on the YouTubes. You can find us there at The Majors TV. Now that we're done plugging. And hopefully you haven't clicked off the episode by now, but if that's the case, if you're still here,
we thank you.
yeah. First off, we thank you, and we would like to extend our condolences to the Ilitch family. Passing of a titan, Mike Ilitch, owner of both the Red Wings, Tigers, Little Caesars, Olympia Entertainment, and yada yada yada, and so forth, has died.
Well, he did die.
He did die. It's not new. He didn't die today. He died. Was it last Wednesday?
Yeah, it was something.
No, last Friday.
Was it
Yeah,
Friday?
it was a Friday.
Not
Yeah.
this past Friday, but the
Friday
Friday
before.
prior.
Yep, Friday before. Just want to, say our goodbyes to, an owner. I mean, yeah. He just owns your favorite sports team, but at the same time,
He was great with the community. Amazing.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Of course, anytime you have somebody like this die, you'll have the immediate, oh, everybody loved him, everything like this, and then you have your detractors that, oh, he wasn't that great, he's not everything he's made up to be. But you know what? We don't care. You know what? Thank you for your effort, your financial investment to make in an effort to bring sports championships to the state of Detroit, and for that we thank you. So, with that being said, guys, how does this affect the future of? Let's talk about the Tigers first. The Chris Ilitch, I think he's the oldest son, right?
Yes.
I don't think
Wait,
he's the oldest.
He's
They
not
do-
the oldest son. Was
Is their oldest son like a drug addict or
Yeah.
something? Like,
He's the son that actually
okay?
wants to
Son,
contribute.
yes. I believe the old, if I have that correctly, the oldest son, whose name escapes me, is essentially no longer part of the family estate. Chris Ilitch, son of Mike and Marion, there will take over operations of both Tigers and Wings. So, how are things going to change in your estimation? At this point, it's just speculation, but been a lot of rumors that Chris has actually been the one pulling the puppet strings here for several years. So we may already have our indication how things are going to go forward. So, in your opinion, can't base this much on fact because we don't have any record for him. He's taken over for a week.
What do we think?
Yeah,
is
what do we
gonna
think is going to happen? How do you think the way the organizations are going to change in how they're run?
And we're starting with just the Tigers right now.
Tigers right now. We'll do Red Wings next.
happen? Tigers right now, I think that. Well, I think we've already been seeing it, right?
Mhm.
I mean, haven't we already been seeing a rollback on what the team is looking to do? Because I
I'll
think
tell you what, they sure, if this any indication of this offseason is how the Tigers are going to go forward, they're going to sign all the washed-up veteran outfielders to minor league deals. They got another one today. They signed Matt Merton today.
Really?
Yeah. I swear to God, they've got like 5 or 7 minor veterans on minor league deals over the age of 30 in camp.
I think that's what's going to happen, though. I think they're going to watch the pennies with the Tigers. We're going to see them. We're not going to see any Ilitch spending sprees like we have in the past, where he goes out and
spends $200 million on a Prince fielder
exactly.
as a panic move for a 1-year injury.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen anymore, unfortunately, because I think Chris Ilitch is a guy that is going to try to generate more of a profit out of his franchise, and I think that. And I'm not saying that just because I have an inkling that that's what's going to happen. I think we've already seen something like that already happen in the past, especially this past offseason with the team. So it's unfortunate, and I hope they end up selling. I think they will, actually, too.
It probably won't be that immediate. I bet you the Ilitch family holds on to the Tigers at least to the end of this baseball season. But yeah, 2018 rolls around. I wouldn't be surprised either if the Detroit Tigers are under new ownership. So. I think you're right, though, about essentially Chris is a younger man compared to his dad, at least.
Yeah, relatively speaking.
Relatively speaking, a younger man. And you know what? He's not done making his fortune. So that, you know what? As you and I were talking about earlier today, people who own sports teams, generally speaking, at least in the United States, own them as status symbols. To brag to their friends, oh well, my baseball team won the World Series this year. They don't own them necessarily as profit making engines. They're the fifth. They're like the fifth fancy sports car that you own that you drive twice a year.
It's like what if you look at what we do now, we might buy like a really nice phone or a really nice watch or a really nice pair of shoes or something like that. But when you're like
the billionaire equivalent is a sports team.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I just went out and I bought the Detroit Tigers. Not quite sure what I'm gonna do with them yet, but
it's just the responsibilities that are really gonna get into my time summering in the Hamptons.
You can never employ too many Hispanics, though. I can say that.
Yeah, so you can say that because you're Hispanic. So, as Dorf and I got really quiet, and we're like,
"That's racist."
Cabrera, is that my gardener or my first baseman?
God, you're awful.
That's funny.
My last name is Hernandez, though. So just.
No, I thought it was Walter Dorf.
You have known me how long, and you still pronounce
I know Walter's Dorf.
There's an S in there, buddy.
I know.
So you've known me how
I don't even
long,
care.
and you still pronounce it
I know.
wrong.
I always do it.
It's probably on purpose.
You do the same thing with my last name,
Bell. Shawn Bell. Could you be more English white bread?
Shawn, no.
Yeah, no.
All right. How does this going to affect Red Wings operations going forward?
I don't think it's going to affect much at all either. I think it's going to be the same. Like, obviously, it's the beginning of rebuilding, I guess, if you want to say, of the franchise. I think it's going to be pretty much the same too.
Well, as far as the Red Wing goes, I mean, rebuilding the franchise has nothing to do with ownership change. I mean,
might be cleaning of house in the front office.
I mean, the Red Wings. I mean, something like this was bound to happen for the Red Wings. But as far as the team goes and what's going to happen, I really don't think much of anything. I mean, the NHL's already capped out.
Salary cap makes turning a profit in the NHL significantly easier.
Sure, and
because there's a maximum that you're allowed to spend.
Yeah, and look, the Red Wings have been the crown jewel of the Ilitch organization since they first bought the team back in the early 80s. I really don't think, and this is the legacy right here. The Red Wings are the legacy of the Ilitch Ilitch family.
The Ilitch
Empire. Yeah,
Empire.
for sure.
I mean, aside from Little Caesars, which from what they're what made them their money in the first place. The Red Wings are the thing with them. That's what they've always loved. That's what
they've been the most successful with for over this past decades.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just one thing.
One team they have that has a championship in their ownership tenure.
That's true. Yep. One thing I do hope that happens though with the Red Wings is I hope, and it's in some sense with the Tigers too, if they end up keeping the team, I hope that they loosen the restrictions with some of these retired numbers, and Chris Ilitch
quit
does
being such a tight ass.
Mhm.
yeah,
Absolutely.
and Chris Ilitch doesn't hold the grudges.
You've got a
that
guy
his
that
dad
played
did.
90% of his career that's with you, that's in the Hall of Fame that you don't have retired. Come on.
Fedorov.
Yeah.
You know who else I retired to, and this is probably a topic for another day.
For the Red Wings?
Yeah. No, a lot of people aren't going to like it, but
I can't. I don't know where you're thinking here. So who is it? Just we'll tease it for later. We'll break this out eventually. Who's that guy?
Chris Ilitch,
I don't think I can disagree with you.
multiple Stanley Cup winner, 400 wins.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He's had a pretty successful career.
You know, you know what? If he's going to be disrespected by the Hall of Fame, at least you can do is throw his number in the rafters.
Yeah.
I agree. All right, that's enough about that though. So say the Tigers are up for sale. Who's your dream buyer?
Mark Cuban.
I know. Mark
That's-
Cuban. I agree with you. I would love to see Dan Gilbert as well.
I want to see Mark Cuban.
The Cubes.
I want to see him down. I want to see him sitting behind home plate, giving the umpire a bunch of shit, like when they make a shitty call. That's what I want to see. And then all of a sudden, him start jumping on the field, and then
No, I want him behind the Tigers dugout, jumping up in between innings, doing dances and shit as part of the promotions team.
whatever. I want him somewhere. I want him somewhere near the field. I don't want to see Mark Cuban.
You don't want to see him in a luxury box.
I don't want
you
to see him in
on
a
the
luxury
field?
box. I want to see him down near the field, just screaming and making a total ass out of himself, because that's what I want out of my owner. Go ahead, Shawn.
I do. Like it. If it's gonna be some type of celebrity, I would totally love that because he enjoys the sport.
The Cubes.
He
already tried to buy the
I know.
Cubs.
He understands how to run a franchise, and he supports them. Obviously, you could tell by it with him with the Mavericks and all that stuff. But how I feel, I want somebody. I don't want just some random celebrity who's like, oh, I'm just gonna buy it, and they have no use, nothing to do with it. I would actually prefer somebody who's like kind of an unknown guy or whatever, an unnamed, who like.
Thank you for teasing my next question. That's the next point here. Do you want a celebrity to own the team? Because I think we're all in agreement.
Okay.
Mark Cuban or like Dan Gilbert is great.
To be honest, no, I don't want a celebrity.
That's what I was gonna
want
ask.
somebody who's like a down to earth guy who obviously has the money to buy them, but who's down to earth, who is a fan, who understands it like enough to make it like better, though, so it doesn't have to like go.
Do you realize the number of like Michigan-based billionaires?
Right.
Do you know who the only two that you have? There's there's four families that are Michigan-based that could afford that. You're not going to like any of them. Both Meyer brothers, or the Meyer grocery store chain.
I like Meyer. That's where I take my
Okay.
bottles back to.
The DeVos family,
No.
and the Van Andels.
Van Andel Arena. I heard that's a pretty nice arena. Haven't you been there before?
Yeah, I've been there
Is
a
it
couple
nice?
times. Yeah, it's pretty nice. Especially for like a minor league facility. Absolutely, it's nice.
You know, that's an interesting.
So if you're trying to go like Tiger fan, Billy super fan, billionaire type owner, those are pretty much your four.
It's an interesting notion though, because
Hanker, Doug Meyer, the
Well-
DeVosses of the Van Andels.
well, I'm talking about the DeVosses who own Amway, big
Yep.
sponsor with the Red Wings, and Van Andel, obviously
I don't think. Yeah,
some affiliation with the Griffins, at least with the arena and everything. So I'm wondering if Chris Ilitch was ever to put the Tigers up for sale, he'd be looking at those groups first. But I'm not saying it has to be Mark Cuban. Ultimately, I want it to be someone
Right.
like that. I want to because Mark
want
Cuban.
that level. Of
You want somebody
enthusiasm.
who's going to support the team.
Well, Mark Cuban is a fan. That's
Yeah,
all he
exactly.
is. And that's what I want. I want a billionaire fan
Mhm.
that's going to go in and spend money. I don't.
That's how I feel.
And you see, that was one of the things with Tom Gores when he first bought the team, is people were nervous because of the whole of what his business is about, Platinum Equity. Platinum Equity is all about tearing down.
Oh, yeah, it's a venture capital.
Yeah,
firm.
and then reselling. I mean, that's what they do, and people were nervous about that.
Yeah, he's a business flipper.
Especially in his comments afterwards. I think it was Stoney that tried to get him to confirm what he's trying to do with the team, whether or not he's actually there to win, or whether or not he's there actually to
buy and flip.
To earn money, and he wasn't really clear on his answer. So people were nervous about that. But I think with Tom Gores now, I wouldn't be unhappy if Tom Gores bought.
No, I wouldn't either.
Those are my big three: Cuban, Gilbert, Gores. If either one of those guys buys it, I'm cool with that.
Would you be happy? I mean, you're not going to get probably a partnership involving Mark Cuban, but if a partnership of Gores and Gilbert bought the team,
sure,
sure.
Yeah, okay.
Great segue into our next topic. Those two fine gentlemen want to bring MLS soccer to Detroit.
Do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
What the hell?
They officially submitted their proposal to the MLS for an expansion franchise that would begin play, I think, during the 2019 season. Is that how it works?
Would it be 2019?
I think it's 2019 season. So it'll be the 2019 season. Look that up. Correct me if I'm
Do they
wrong.
have a set place for a stadium?
That's what we're getting to.
Okay.
So part of their proposal.
It's like Segway City, man.
Man, you are setting me up good. Part of their proposal is essentially acquiring the Wayne County jail site that's been sitting there. Like, I can't even call it half finished. Like 1/4 finished for who knows how long, where the city is paying upwards, or the county is paying upwards of $1 million a month just to leave it like that. Part of that would be, that proposal is that they were submitted to the county and the MLS is to take that site, demolish it, build stadium there. Part of that would be tax breaks, but other than that, no city funding. As also part of that deal, they would build a $300 million jail facility 1.5 miles away just for free to give it to the county. That is part of their proposal. Why the fuck? Now, I can understand.
Why haven't they just
understand
check
if
mark X, here we go, sign.
Exactly. I would understand if the MLS decides that soccer isn't isn't in the best interest of the MLS to bring it to Detroit. I would understand that. But from Wayne County's perspective, why the fuck are you not sprinting to get your damn contract notarized and get it sent back over?
See, I think Detroit would be a perfect fit, especially with all the remodeling that they're doing, trying to bring the city back. Like Pistons, all the sports are going to be in Detroit now. Bring the soccer. You're going to get fans.
And I think you do have a small fan base already.
Yes.
Would you see what do they call themselves? Detroit City FC?
Yes.
That like
in the fan base is called the Northern Guard.
Yeah, those guys are fucking nuts.
If you build it, they will come.
I'm not. I don't know if you can count on them though.
Oh yeah, I know. They're that welcome to the craziness of French fandom. So I mean, they're the epitome of the fanatic.
Well, they're fanatic about Detroit City FC. There may be
that's my point. Yeah,
they may be boycotting a Detroit MLS team, but
because you didn't make Detroit City FC the MLS team. Yeah, because from the perspective of Major League Soccer and potential ownership of Dan Gilbert and Tom Gores, it's like, go have your little pathetic little semi-pro team. Let the big boys play here.
If you have a built-in fan base there,
it may not be bad to absorb them somehow.
No, I would if I'm Gores or I'm Gilbert and I'm looking to
build bridges.
Yeah, I'm listening to what they have to say, but you take a look at Detroit as a whole, and to me, and I'm looking at some of these other markets here that are under consideration. We're talking Charlotte, Cincinnati, in addition to Detroit, Indianapolis, Nashville, Phoenix, Raleigh-Durham, Sacramento, St. Louis, San Antonio, San Diego, and then Tampa Bay, St. Petersburg. Okay.
How many teams are they going to take out of this?
Looks like by 2020 they want to be at 26 teams. 26 teams by the 2020.
At what? Oh, so they're currently at 24. They want to add 2 more.
Right now they're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. And then they have oh wait, that's including Minnesota. Is that 22? But they also have Miami and then another Los Angeles
to
begin coming
shortly.
in too. Yep. So
a second LA team.
Yes. So yeah, it's going to be Yeah, there's going to be a second team in LA and then another team in Miami, which, again, Miami already had a team at one point. They were the Miami Fusion, which bottomed out.
Well, and the hilarious part is they're trying to bring a second team back to LA when one folded just like 2.5 years ago.
Chivas USA. Yeah, not too long ago. But the thing is okay, they want to put another team in San Antonio, or they want to look into maybe put a team in San Antonio, and then another team. Where was it? In wasn't there another Texas team that we're talking about? Either way, you're looking at a market that's already saturated in Texas, because now you're going to have 3 teams. If they're looking at another team,
a third team in California, a third team in Texas, second team in Florida, where we already know that sports fans don't give a flying fuck.
Yes. Let's see. Charlotte. Does anybody
watch soccer in Charlotte?
Yeah.
No, they don't. If it's at NASCAR or college football in Charlotte, nobody
I mean,
fucking gives a fuck.
they don't have a. Well, I mean, they do support a NFL squad too.
They support bass fishing.
NFL's the exception of the rule, though, I think.
Yeah.
Especially because of the revenue sharing, also.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, some of these other teams, again, Phoenix
again, can't support anything.
Yeah.
Again, a large Hispanic population, I'm assuming, who can get into soccer. But you go and you look at Detroit. You look at all the different population groups that we have here. We have a
soccer is
we have
popular with all of them.
Yes, we have a large Hispanic population. We have the biggest Middle Eastern population outside of the Middle East itself. There's a Greek population here. There's a Polish
Indian
population. Indian population.
There's everything
all
here.
right here, yes. And not to mention, you
have a bunch of fucking hipsters that love soccer too.
Yes, yes. And what I was going to say is when Manchester United were playing,
they sold out the goddamn big house.
Yes. Yeah, when they were playing Real Madrid, they sold out the big house
in like 4 hours.
Yes. What else?
How populated that area was when that game was here was more than a normal Michigan Ohio State game.
You have incredible diversity in this general area.
Mm-hmm.
You have 2 guys leading this group here who have shown that they are good owners in their respective leagues. Yes, they're willing to spend money.
It's not like they've never run a sports team before. They both own NBA teams.
Absolutely, and they're looking to build a new stadium. What's the problem? And like you said, Shawn, Detroit is on the rebound right now. It's on the rebound. There's the incredible devotion to sports teams in general in this city,
in this region,
which may be to a fault almost, because they're not looking at other things that they could be spending some of this money on. But that's a conversation for a different day.
Yeah.
But Detroit should absolutely be looking to get an MLS team. They should be. Actually, quite frankly, I'm surprised they don't have an MLS team yet.
Already, absolutely.
I mean, because again, you look at some of these other teams that are on here. You have a team in Portland.
Portland has like one of the most rabid fan bases.
You have a team in Salt Lake City.
There's nothing in Salt Lake City.
You have a team in Kansas City.
Do they have one in Salt Lake City?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Real Salt Lake.
That is Utah. Never mind.
Yep. Again, you have a team in Montreal, and you have a team in Toronto, and a team in Vancouver. You have 3 teams in the Pacific Northwest. 3. Now
you're supporting 3 Canadian teams.
Now look, if you put a team in Michigan too, if you put a team in Detroit, all of a sudden you have a natural rivalry with Columbus, with Chicago, and with Toronto. It's already there. And if you want to throw in Minnesota in there as well, just because of proximity and everything, and the 2 cities having a history with their sports teams, then go ahead and do that. But it's all right there. I mean, and that's something you have to think that they're looking at too. Like if they put a team in Charlotte, who are they going to be rivaling with? Atlanta, who's one of the worst sports teams in all of the
sports cities in the world.
Yeah, one of the worst sports cities.
Is that Orlando?
Yeah,
down there too.
Yeah, Orlando.
I know.
Yeah, who gives a shit?
Hey, they've already got a team in God's waiting room East. Why not put one in God's waiting room West? Phoenix.
Jesus Christ. To me, I'm sorry. I know it's a biased opinion, but
it's true. You got to state the facts sometimes.
Yeah.
Why isn't this done already?
It seems like it's a no-brainer. It really does.
It's not like you're cobbling together 17 different millionaires to try and buy this team. You have like two billionaires are like, yeah, I guess soccer seems cool. Let's do it.
So they're gonna need two new teams to get up to 28, right? Because
No reason Detroit's not one of them.
Detroit has to be
Okay,
one.
let's just go by media market size. Is there anybody in a bigger media market that wants a team besides the second team in L.A.?
St. Louis,
It's not a bigger media market.
Tampa Bay, St. Pete.
Nope. San Antonio ain't either.
Okay, where were you putting the other team at? I'm going Detroit and
Probably Nashville.
Nashville. Yeah.
Probably Nashville. You already have one team in Kansas City is the only reason I wouldn't do St. Louis.
Yeah, they probably.
You don't need a third team in the state. Fourth team in the case of San Diego.
Who were you saying? Nashville? Yeah.
Nashville.
And if you put it Nashville,
It's kind of your in between.
You're in between, yeah.
Yeah.
So you can rival with Columbus, Chicago, Atlanta,
DC.
Yep. Yeah, that's probably what I do too. It's actually kind of criminal that they don't have a team in Detroit. I'm sorry. I just think it's, again, another team in Los Angeles. Look, it wasn't a good idea for the NFL to put another team in Los Angeles. Do you think it's going to be a good idea for them to put another team there, especially since it's
You're already
failed
seeing how two NFL teams are doing in Los Angeles.
What the fuck is up with these sports leagues wanting to just saturate Southern California?
All
With-
the money
with-
belongs in Southern California.
Not to mention just Southern California, but LA in particular.
But no one gives a flying fuck about their
No,
sports.
no.
Because they're either too busy working or too busy gawking at celebrities.
The only two teams that LA cares about are the Lakers
And
and
USC,
the Dodgers.
Well, and the USC when they're good.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah, USC football when they're good.
Yes, they don't give a shit about anything else. Look, if you want to put two teams in New York,
They kind of care about the Angels, which really aren't in LA.
actually, I looked at a
like a fan support index.
like a survey. Angels are down there, man.
Oh,
They may be one of the least supported.
They care more about like public works projects than the Los Angeles.
Well, I'm
Angels?
talking about sports teams
Oh,
right
okay.
now. Right at the top, it's the Lakers at the top, but barely.
No one
the
cares about
Dodgers-
the Clippers either.
The Dodgers are getting ready to take them over.
I wouldn't doubt it. Well,
But-
it's because the Dodgers are good now.
Yes. So again, it's dumb. Sorry.
All right, moving on to another Ilitch family-held organization. Back to the Red Wings. Are they still in striking distance?
Yeah, we're kind of looking at this today.
I know, and I came to my initial thought was, did they do themselves a disservice by winning both games this weekend?
Did you think about that when you looked at the standings though?
Yeah.
I mean, because it's.
I mean,
pretty-
they took all 4 available points against the Capitals with an OT win and a quite honestly coast to coast domination of the Penguins yesterday, and back to back changing cities, pretty good. Peter Mrazek, he started both games?
Started both games. Gave
4
up
goals.
4 goals.
4 goals against
over.
those 2
Yep.
offensive powers. That's pretty
Yep.
good. Pretty
Yeah.
good days at the office.
He was making some phenomenal saves
Oh, yeah.
yesterday too. Jesus Christ. Hopefully he's back because the Red Wings certainly need. But that's kind of been Peter Mrazek's his downfall is his consistency throughout his.
He can be the best goalie in the world for like a month and a half at the time, and then he can be like a bottom 5 starter.
Yeah.
The next week.
Yeah, he's got luckily he's young enough too that hopefully he can remedy that and get that on track. But I don't know, Dorf. I don't know if they did him if they did themselves a disservice or not, just because.
So they now sit at 7 points out of the final wild card
Final
spot
wild card
with 23 games to go.
They're 7 out of the third spot in the.
I thought they were
Atlantic, though, too.
9 out of the
No.
third spot.
They're 7.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
just-
Jesus Christ!
I just
really?
yeah.
There's only only 4 teams that have worse
Both the
records
three
than
teams in the Atlantic.
Hold on, I'll double check. But I'm pretty,
I thought it was like 12. I thought it was 12. No, because the 8th seed and the 3rd in the Atlantic both have 65 points. The Wings have 58.
Boston is at 66, and
So they're 8 out.
and Toronto is at 65.
So they're 8 out of the 3rd spot in the division. They're 7 out of the last final wild card. And they're not getting the 7th seed. They're what?
No,
like,
there's
no,
7
like
spots
14
out. There's
back.
7 spots out of the
No,
wild
the
card.
Rangers are at 77.
how many games though?
Oh,
How many points back are they?
how many points? They are, there's they're 7 points behind back.
Yeah, they're not catching the Rangers.
No, they're not
That's-
catching the Rangers. They're not catching the yeah. But they're not
That's
catching the Rangers
Toronto.
at all.
So they're getting the 6 seed or the 8. They're getting the 6 or the 8. They're 7 points out of one, 8 points out of the other.
And they play these teams a lot.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
They got a lot of opportunity. And you and I were going picking through their schedule. The juggernauts are done. They're done with them.
Well, they got to play Ottawa. Ottawa's in there. I know the Canadians are in there a little bit too.
They got to play the Canadians twice.
Yeah, but they have some games up against Toronto. And
They got 2 against Carolina.
They have some
Carolina's
coming up with Boston.
awful.
Yep, they have some coming up against Boston. I know
Who's
they
the
have
team
some
they're
against.
chasing.
Yep, they have a game against New Jersey. I think New Jersey's at the end of the season. I know they have another game against Tampa Bay, Buffalo, the Islanders. They have a lot of games against a lot of teams that are
kind of in
outside
the same boat as them. Just
Yeah.
kind of hanging
Yeah,
around.
so I mean, if the Red Wings want to put it together, they can, and they can make a run at it. I don't think it's too late, but when you're looking at a 7-point hole, it's tough to make a determination where you want to go in either sense. I don't think I told you this earlier, Dorf. I don't think it would be a responsible move for them to go and be buyers.
Buyers at the
trade.
deadline,
Yeah,
no.
I don't think it's a responsible move. If anything, if they want to do anything to try to work this out for themselves and try to get into the playoffs, I think you just got to stand pat.
Stand in with what you got.
Yeah, stand pat.
When you just look at it from a roster flexibility standpoint, you don't really have the ability to add.
No, and that's what I've argued before, because
They've got so many veteran guys who are on essentially unmovable contracts.
yeah,
You can't add.
Well, that's what
Unless,
I've
of course, you're willing to carry like a $5.5 million healthy scratch every night.
Yeah, well, they're in an awkward position either way, because I've always made the argument that the guys that they're going to trade, you can't trade because of contract, because of the contract
Overbearing
situation.
contracts,
yes. And the guys that you can trade, you'd be getting essentially the same player back. So what's the point? You'd just be making a trade for the sake of making a trade.
Doesn't do anything.
No, it doesn't. The 2 guys that they could possibly get something in return for, if Jimmy Howard wasn't hurt,
You probably get some. And you know what? If Jimmy Howard was healthy, he tried to play like a week and a half
he had a
ago
setback though. Yeah.
and didn't even make it through the second period.
Yeah. But I wish he was healthy, because I'd be looking for them to trade him. But you got Thomas Vanek, and you got
Mike Green
Mike
is
Green,
like, well,
yeah.
he's
who's still on a
some-
multi. Yeah, who's still on
he's
a
still got
multi-year
he's
deal,
got
too.
another year after that, and I believe a no movement.
I don't know if it's no movement or not, but still, I mean, it's an awkward situation for the Red Wings. I think that I don't think they're in the position right now to be buyers, just because they are 7 points back of a playoff spot, and I don't know what they'd be able to get in return if they ended up selling. I don't know if it'd be worth it.
Yeah, I mean, you're really only 2 sellable. I mean, you could obviously sell a guy like Thomas Tatar, or I would say Gustav Nyquist, but he's kind of been non-existent.
Well, I don't know if you could sell him right now because he's been suspended.
Well, yeah, he's suspended, but obviously currently still serving. He's got, what, 4 left?
Yes.
4 games left on his suspension. But he'd be back before the deadline, right?
No, the deadline's.
March 1st.
I'll get back to you on that.
I think he might not be back until after. And I don't know what the NHL rules about trading a suspended player. So
I don't.
I don't think it's ever really needed. I'm sure there's a rule in there, but I'm not sure that anybody else has had to double check this.
So let's see. They So they play the Islanders on Tuesday.
Okay.
Vancouver. Wait, that's not right. Oh, then they don't play again for the 28th.
Yeah, they only got 2 left.
Yeah.
Sure you can. I'm sure you can trade a suspended player.
Yeah, you probably can. I don't know if a team would be willing to bite on something like that, though.
Yeah, I mean, you're essentially getting a guy that you can't play for the first 2 games, but whatever. Yeah, I mean, say that they sit back and or do a minor sell. I think Thomas Vanek's the one guy that's obviously going to be gone. What do you think? We're not going to talk players here. We're not going to talk player for player swap. But in your guys' opinion, Shawn, I'm going to ask you, see if you can chime in here at all. I know hockey's not your thing. What, in terms of draft pick compensation, is a fair trade for Thomas Vanek?
You're asking Shawn?
I'm asking both of you.
Oh, I was like,
Shawn's like, ninth rounder.
I don't know. The way, like, what I've, from stats wise and the few games that I've watched, this is not going to help out a lot.
Shawn, yeah. Bright insight from a place of ignorance.
Yeah, I would probably say maybe, you said, so for a draft pick, right? You said?
Yes.
Maybe a third rounder.
That's exactly what we said earlier when we were talking about this. Third rounder's the dream, fourth rounder's realistic. And if I get either, I'm pulling the trigger.
Mm-hmm.
Even if we make the playoffs, we're not real contenders. I'm not about just keeping the streak alive. You know what? If I can get a fourth rounder, hockey drafts are so much deeper than most sports. Right. You can get a quality.
There's so much more talent, I think, wise.
This draft coming up is not. It lacks the high end talent. There's not a Connor McDavid. There's not a what's his nuts, Austin Matthews in Toronto. There's not a that once in a generation elite player in this draft. But otherwise, it's hockey drafts are always deep. You can get very quality guys in the fourth round. Guys, you know what? They probably won't be able. You probably won't see him with a big club for 3 years.
Well, the Red Wings have proved what you can get in the later rounds.
Absolutely.
You know, for the past
and you know what?
20 years.
You may not hit on it, but I at least am increasing my odds by having the ability to bring in another player, or I can use that newly acquired third or fourth round pick to package with a player or more picks to move up or acquire other players in the offseason. It's just another asset to build towards the future. Because I know damn well I'm not a real contender this year, and I ain't here just to be here. If we ain't legitimately going to contend for a championship, you need to be doing your best to put yourself in a position to win it next. Down the line.
I'm wondering if this Joe Louis Arena thing is going to play into anything at all too.
We would have a good product on the end of the show.
Yeah, well, wanting to do something like that. Make it, give the Joe one last playoff round.
Oh, if the marketing department has their say, I'm sure they do it. But if a genuine hockey person has that opinion, they need to be let go from their job immediately. Oh, we want to send it out with the fans. All right. Moving on to speaking of, shit stains. And I say this about my own school, Michigan State Spartan Athletics, as we used on our last show, the clusterfuck of sadness to describe the Red Wings. I'm going to use the clusterfuck of scandal.
Yeah. It's been an interesting month, this past month.
Sure has.
Yes,
sure has. The major athletics, the revenue sports, are in the middle of their worst seasons in a while. Not to mention you have 3 still unnamed football players.
Look like Shawn's not like some big smart ass too. Like he would be.
Hey, I'm holding my own school to task here.
I know. No,
I write this rundown.
No, I know. I'm just saying you're just lucky Shawn's not some big smart ass and rubbing all of this in.
Yeah, no.
I've had to deal with the my fair share of those in my travels the last couple weeks.
See how I see it with all the stuff that's going on. I don't think it's appropriate just yet to be kind of a smart ass about the situations until everything exactly comes out and we know everything.
And you know what? I'm going to give Michigan State credit, at least. When things came to light, they're handling it appropriately. They're not trying to Penn State Dr. Nasser, who we're going to talk about here in a minute. Now that it's out, they're
trying to take care of it.
Turning over everything they can to.
Unless you're the gymnastics team.
Yeah.
Just wait.
Hey, heads rolled there. That's all you can ask the institution to do at this point is, heads rolled. And with football, they immediately suspended guys. They didn't try to interfere. And to their credit, they're avoiding the next Duke lacrosse scandal. They're not throwing these kids under the bus yet. They're leaving them unnamed. Because you know what? It could be, crying wolf.
Have you heard rumors out there?
I've heard the names are rumored, and I would be upset from a football perspective if that was true.
Yeah.
I would be not only disappointed overall, but that would very much hurt. And you know what? I'm not going to we're not going to name those names here because they're unsubstantiated rumors. So, you know what? Other than that.
Is it Kirk Cousins?
It is.
I mean, he did just go shoving a ref in a charity football game.
Did he do that?
Yeah, that was like 4 weeks ago.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
you
I
didn't-
didn't see
Like
that.
charity flag football game. I think actually it was.
Was it staged?
I'm pretty sure it was staged because it was one of those. It was like a thing for like 5 minutes, and then
It almost, to be honest, to me, it almost kind of looked like a LeBron flop a little bit.
Oh yeah,
I
I'm pretty sure it
knew
was
it.
staged.
I knew it was Kirk Cousins that did it.
He done gone did it.
That dirty bastard.
And Draymond Green was back there too.
Yeah, Draymond Green thinks the Earth is flat, so I'm sorry. That education that he earned from Michigan State. Come
he
on,
didn't go to class.
he ain't here to play school.
He didn't go to class. No, I see what you're saying. I see what you're coming from. Yes, they got the Title IX lawyers in there too to make sure they handled everything.
Good, and you
right.
know what?
Again,
They're not doing a Penn State where they're investigating themselves. They've hired the outside firms. You know what? We're out of the way. You do what you need to do. Get this resolved.
However,
Mm-hmm.
as far as that gymnastics thing goes,
Oh, gymnastics is a whole different story. From the Title IX perspective, from football, they're doing it the right way.
they
yes.
need to nuke the gymnastics program.
Yeah.
They need to wipe it out. Death penalty themselves.
Yeah, and, I think that's what they should do. And the unfortunate side effect here is you're gonna have to nuke a boys' sports program too.
Then do it. Sorry,
Okay.
that's what
I
happened.
haven't heard the full story of this gymnastics. Explain a little bit to me.
Team doctor.
Mhm.
It's
long
very-
story
it's very
short-
Penn State-ish.
Was molesting athletes that he was reportedly treating for many years.
That's kind of basically what I've
The
heard.
only reason it was ever found out is he was busted for child porn.
Okay.
Separately. He also was a volunteer doctor for the the Olympic program.
Time to nuke it.
Yeah, and if that's the case, go ahead. Let it burn.
What male sport are you nuking?
I'd have to look. I mean, you have to in order
The
to stay
male
Title
gymnastics team?
in order to stay Title IX compliant. I don't know. I'd have to look at it. Which one ones you have to choose from. Like that on the surface. That's
Cricket.
probably it. I don't have a varsity cricket team.
No. Just saying.
Depending on how serious it is, too, I might roll out punishment throughout the entire athletic program.
How though? Financial.
Yep.
Okay. I can't say I disagree.
I know it sucks because I like Michigan
This is
State,
my
but-
school.
But everything that I've ever said about Penn State, you got to put your money where your mouth is when it comes to shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's no place for.
You can't just, like how I see it, you can't just punish like one school for something like that. You got to, if anything like that happens, you got to punish them all the same way to a certain extent.
I'll tell Michigan fans this though: don't be.
There's plenty of skeletons in your
Yeah,
closet.
don't-
Yeah, don't be stupid. And as a Michigan fan right here, keep your mouth shut.
We talked to that one former professor. Remember
Mhm.
Yeah.
all that?
Don't worry.
stuff?
There's plenty of skeletons in your closet too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not the professor, but
Right.
But
At the
Michigan.
university. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it sucks, but look, I think this is a conversation I actually had with my dad the other day, and it's unfortunate. I'm talking about on both ends here of the gymnastics program and what's happening in football right now. As far as the gymnastics thing goes, from a moral standpoint, yes, you need to drop bombs. You need
Mhm.
you need to nuke that program.
Public
to start.
execution.
Yes, to start, because that's the right thing to do.
Mhm.
You need to do everything that you did with the Penn State players as well, where you offer them a chance
Opportunity to transfer
Mhm.
to another institution without penalty.
absolutely.
Mhm.
And or stick to school with your education bill until you're done.
Sure.
You can stick around, cease doing sports, and have school paid for forever, or you can go somewhere else on scholarship without transfer penalty.
Yep.
Write me out.
But as far as these players go on the football team, you know what, this is it just goes back. I mean, you see this shit all the time. I mean, none of this stuff is new in college sports.
No.
I mean, we see it all the time, and that doesn't make it right. That just makes it even more
There's a
wrong.
scandal not quite of this magnitude in Division I athletics a week.
Yes, and again, I'm not trying to minimize what happened at Michigan State, but this just goes back to the culture and how these kids are cultivated and treated throughout the entire athletic career in high school, and then when they get to college, I mean, you see the ESPN thing on National Signing Day and how they're driven to these schools in limousines and they have cameras
flown
in
in via helicopter.
Yes, and they get this mentality that they think that they're untouchable and they can do whatever they want and
Nope.
and that's,
You just look at, you know what? This has been settled in the court. Just look at some of the shit Jameis Winston is accused of.
Yeah.
And his attitude about it.
Mhm.
He's been clean, seemingly clean ever since.
And I hope he's growing up. I hope he is.
I have. But you can't fix the broken life at his expense.
Nope.
But that kind of attitude, you know, Jameis Winston arguably during his tenure at Florida State was the best player in America.
Mhm.
Imagine the kind of stuff that goes on that doesn't get that attention.
Sure.
Because when a news aggregator at a large media outlet pulls up a name, you know, your name, and it's not one of their key things that they follow, imagine how little reporting gets done on a broad perspective.
Absolutely. Yeah, and a lot of times too, I mean, whether it's the Tallahassee police or the State College police or, you know, the Columbus police, we've seen these police departments, these campus police
Put
departments.
fandom in front of people.
Absolutely. I don't know if you could say that about the East Lansing Police Department because it
Oh
seems
fuck
like,
no! They're
it
always
seems like-
they're always at odds with the Spartan Athletic
yeah,
Department.
it seems like they're actively out there trying to find shit to bust these players on. Did they run over some player's foot before?
Yeah, of course. It's McGarrett Kings, the guys that's already been in trouble and is like already on his last life. They run over his fucking foot with a police car, and he punches the car, and he gets like destruction of property for that. You ran over his fucking foot. Like, come on. And also, just another wrinkle into this: Mark D'Antoni did get a contract extension. Or at least it was announced this week.
Bad optics, Dorf?
Optics are awful on that. Oh yes, your team is mired in scandal. Here's a 6-year extension. So he's now under contract through 2023.
That's good.
You know what? Even if there was some handshake behind the scenes with
And you know what?
it's
It's most likely that the extension was agreed to a while ago.
you don't announce it now.
Yeah, this was a bad
Well,
time.
I mean, his salary is going to be public record. They'll figure out about it eventually.
I know, but like with all the stuff, with all the stuff that's going on right now, it's like, dude, it's like just hold off for a couple more months. Let me just
announce it over the summer when no one's paying attention.
Yeah.
Like, jeez.
Yep. Or,
I bet they'd announce it. Maybe if we announce it now, they're just put all this other stuff behind in the shadow.
Yeah, this is the equivalent of the Friday at 5 p.m. political press release.
no, they try to do the Donald Trump and be like, it try to deflect to something else.
Oh, travel ban's going bad. Let's fire the national security advisor as smokescreen.
Yeah.
No, that wasn't that. That was the Russia thing.
I know.
So let's
yeah.
So let's go ahead
Nothing to see here. Move along.
or have a shitstorm
that was
press
terrible.
conference.
I would say that's an awful officer, Bar Brady. Nothing to say. God, I can't even do it. Nothing to say here. God,
it's
that's
tough.
not good.
Nothing to fear.
Yeah, Officer Bar Brady's a tough one. And also, yeah, on top of it, men's basketball sucks. Woo! Not going to make the tournament for the first time in like my lifetime. That should probably only be the second time in my lifetime. What was it? 96?
I think it was 95, I thought.
95 or 96 is the last time they make it?
Yeah, bad form for them. That sucks. Not a good year.
Nope. All right. We're moving on to our last segment of the night here, the cut room floor. Tigers got spring training going.
Woo!
Yeah, sorry, we didn't give you the headphone ear blowout warning because Shawn just decided to. Sorry, we apologize. All potential lawsuits can be addressed to Shawn Bell. I don't know his address.
I was like, good luck trying to find my address. And that's, yeah.
Yep.
Good luck.
And in public comments, Omar Infante wants to compete for the center field job. Well,
no.
I said, I mean, look, the Tigers don't have a.
Omar, you were a bad left fielder 5 years ago, or like 8 years ago. What makes you think you can play center at 35?
Put him out there in spring training. See what he can do.
Quack, quack, quack. Another Tigers note. Don Kelly. Yes, I said that on purpose. Don Kelly. Back with the organization as a pro scout / player development assistant. Donnie Kelly, baby.
To be honest, I
Whatever.
I don't mind it.
Whatever.
He's just a scout.
Lions have announced stadium improvements, like $100 million investment in Ford Field.
Did you watch the video on that too?
Yeah, it's pretty cool looking.
Yeah, it does.
And they've also raised ticket prices for the umpteenth year straight. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
And Reggie Jackson is also reportedly being shopped to the Magic. Since there's no really particular compensation as part of that rumor, we decided not to talk about it tonight.
Yeah.
Rumor players coming back are DJ Augustine and Jeff Green.
Huh?
Yeah. You didn't hear about
If
that?
that's how little he's worth, fuck that shit. Jesus. And also, Jim Harbaugh and Paul Feinbaum are feuding again on Twitter.
That's
so stupid. You know what? This is all on Paul Feinbaum too.
It's time to, he's an easy target. You know what? I can't blame Paul Feinbaum. You know what? It's the slow season. It gives you content for 2 or 3 days. Who cares? Woohoo! Did exactly. He played puppeteer. He got exactly what he wanted.
No, but if he actually believes the shit that he's spewing that Jim Harbaugh is a cheater, how is Jim Harbaugh a cheater?
Yeah.
Because he hired somebody's dad.
That shit happens all the time.
Yes,
and by the way, said dad is probably now going to Oregon.
Yeah, and what? Because he's going to they're having a practice in Rome. Who cares?
Who cares?
He's cheating.
It's
fun.
It's a recruiting tactic. Look, if you go play in Michigan, you might be able to go and play in Rome.
You know what? It's part of the college football team. Had I not transferred, that I played for, was going to play against the Austrian national team the year after. That was a trip, and that was part of our recruiting as well.
You guys would have got your ass kicked.
Actually, they beat them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's because Austrians suck at American
Actually,
football.
they're like the best American football team out of everybody in Europe.
That just goes to show how bad everybody is.
Yeah, so a Division III team from Indiana beat them. Yeah, I know. But yeah, that's the level of play. That's if Division III teams have been doing that for a while, because we're not the only one that travel internationally to play games in Europe. Why can't Division I teams do it? You look at like Michigan State basketball. They went and played a bunch of pro teams in Italy last summer.
Mm-hmm.
Now, part of NCAA rules, I think you can only do one of those trips every 3 years, an international trip every 3 years. But stuff like that happens all the time. Why is that bad?
Well, why do you
care?
Why is there even limitations on it? Who gives a shit?
Mm-hmm.
Seriously, if a school wants to spend their money,
let them.
Yeah.
Having holding practices in Europe, who cares? What's the big deal? And then you have teams.
You're just mad you didn't think of it first.
Yeah, and then you have Feinbaum, who Harbaugh called an SEC water carrier, which he absolutely is.
He's the spokesmouth of the Southeastern Conference.
Yeah. Don't you think if LSU or Nick Saban or anybody wanted to do this, they could do it?
Yeah. What about the optics of Alabama being on his third OC in 3 games?
Yeah. Yeah. Really. Seriously, if Nick Saban went up to the athletic director and said, "Hey, I want to hold a practice in France," do you think the athletic director is going to tell him no?
How about let's go play in the original Olympic Coliseum? Can we see about making that happen?
Well, they got to put a floor on it.
Yeah.
But you get my point.
Yeah.
You know what, Nick?
Oh, wait,
Jim Harbaugh.
That's the Coliseum.
You know what?
I'm
He's
sorry.
going to go call up Elon Musk, and they're going to play. They're going to hold spring practice on the fucking moon.
I don't know. It just seems stupid. It seems like pick your battles, man, and have a reason for calling.
You know,
Jim
if they
Harbaugh
want
a
to
cheater.
hold a fucking spring game in Antarctica, fucking let them. Who cares?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I agree.
They can make it work with their academic endeavors. Fine, have fun. All right, that is going to wrap up tonight's program. You're listening live here. Thanks for joining us. If not, you can catch us each and every week. We swear this time we won't have a 3-week break. I'm every Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on themajors.net, or you can catch our archive at themajors.net as well, or on Mixlr. So, once again, that's mixlr.com. So, for Adam and Shawn, I'm Dorf. We'll see you guys next week.